This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Well, good day, everybody, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Today is Tuesday, October the 25th, 2022. We're so glad you could come along. Coming up in today's show, I talk with Iowa Ag Secretary Mike Naig about harvest progress across the state and things that may be just a little bit better than what was expected. We'll also have a look at your ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down those markets. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, we're at the end of another trading day for this Tuesday, and we turn to Jacob Burks of agmarket.net. Jacob, what did we see in those grain markets today?
If you spent all day watching, you saw a lot of nothing. We were very, very quiet, very sideways trade here in the corn market. It's been in one of the tighter ranges that we've seen, probably at 10 cents starting from overnight, and we continued that throughout the day. You're getting in a lot of harvest news, and if you go back and look at the last 2 months of trade, it's just stayed really quiet, really sideways. I think you got a lot of people guessing what the yields numbers are going to be. You got a lot of macroeconomic situation that's being analyzed, but by and large, it's been sideways. Yesterday we had a pretty negative day in the beans. We had quite a recovery today. We recovered about half of that on the day. Wheat traded on both sides. Really the only consistent move has been the soybean oil has been a little bit stronger. So the products in the soybeans are given a little bit of probably a lot of spread trade going on, where we've been selling the grains and buying the wheat or the beans back today to kind of reverse that spread action. But all in all, it was kind of a quiet day today.
Now, seeing a little bit of weakening in the grain market is not unusual for this time of year, is it?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I've expected a lot more weakening in this grain market. That's been such a different dynamic this year, though, with the West being so short corn, basis levels staying so strong, that you just haven't got a lot of that harvest pressure that everybody expects this time of year. Last few days, around the river areas, around some of the western part of the Corn Belt, you started to see some of these bases fall apart to where they've gotten full, they've gotten out of the processors. And a lot of that has to do with the speed of the harvest. We haven't had a rain delay yet. Today we're finally getting some guys that having to get kicked out of the fields. But that dynamic is just totally different this year. And expecting to see the futures market follow some of that harvest pressure basis down, and that just hasn't been the case near like it typically is.
Yeah, we just got a shot of rain across the state yesterday, and it was, enough to slow things down, which is not bad in itself. I mean, it gives people a chance to relax, gives people a chance to take a break. But I know a lot of people were hoping, we would get more rain and start filling up that Mississippi River Basin, but it's going to take quite a while. And I think most farmers would probably agree they would rather, if it's going to happen, wait till at least after the crop is out of the ground.
Absolutely. We got guys on feet on the ground there in St. Louis, and they've had like over 2 inches of rain today, and that's, they're tickled to death, and that's what we need to get these barges moving. But I had some producers yesterday that said after the first 2 drops of rain, they were done. They've been looking for an opportunity to take a break and stop, and these 15-hour days and 16-hour days of harvest has worn on them a little bit, but we need that opportunity to get some of that grain pushed down the river, get these barges flowing a little bit. It might even be next April before we start seeing that big movement of grain down, but at least this will get the log jam kind of cleaned up a little bit and, go back to a little bit more normal transportation. You say all this, there's still grain moving down. We're still exporting. We still had large shipments out of the Gulf last week. So things are still intact. We're still moving everything. It's just different. It's just a little bit different. When we're seeing Illinois corn go to Texas, on rail, it's different. It typically doesn't have the dynamics of the spread trade doesn't usually allow that freight to be able to move that way. And this year with high values out west, it is.
So let's switch over to the livestock side of things there, Jacob. What did we see in the cattle and hog markets?
Well, today we did see a little bit of pullback here in the feeder cattle market, which Talking about spread trades, you're seeing a lot of movement. We had the front months up in October, which will be going off here up $1, and we saw the fat cattle in October up a little bit with everything else lower. Your $1.50 to $1.70 lower across most of the feeder cattle. And I think that's just, a little bit of, probably some profit taking. I mean, we've seen a slow, steady move up, but we're still definitely in an upward trending channel there in the feeder cattle. The live cattle, been very, very strong. Cattle on feed last week just basically reaffirmed what we knew. We're going to be tight some cattle. And as long as you're seeing economic movement not just fall apart, that's going to stay strong just from the fundamentals of where we're at. Hog market, again, is on a tear. We've seen a big move up from off those lows here, last month. And I think that there's just a lot of opportunity in these proteins right now. You saw the cold storage report come out. Hey, people realize these food procurers, they realize that we're going to be short beef and short beef mainly in the coming months, in the coming 6 months. And so they're really stockpiling these their freezers. So it's not that negative that we see some of these higher inventories of beef. It just makes sense. It's just they're doing the right thing.
And speaking of the cattle market, this situation you were just kind of speaking to, I mean, if folks were able to hold on to cattle and not have to call a lot from their herds, I mean, they kind of seem to have all the cards in their hand right now as they look for those cash bids every week, right?
Well, it's often in the cattle industry out west. Somebody gets dry, somebody has problems. We've seen death loss due to storms. This happens where having that holdback for cattle. Next spring, that heifer market can be very, very explosive. So these, we're seeing it over here. We have guys that are taking in, heifers, breeding them back and look forward to selling some bred heifers next spring. And so, if there is rain, if there is that grass being replenished out west, yeah, that'll be a huge market opportunity for some of these cattle guys. But all in all, we killed a lot of cows. We killed a lot of heifers on feed right now. And so, that is telling us we don't build a herd back, in 1 year. It'll be 2 years before we start to see those cattle numbers get back to a level where it's burdensome. And this is all with the preface that demand's going to stay strong, and we're not going to kill this demand, which, is what we were talking a little bit about this morning with the fact that that they're talking about slowing the rates down and hopefully, not doing deflationary measures to stop the growth of this economy.
All right, Jacob. Well, if folks want to talk some market strategies and get some advice from agmarket.net, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
We encourage everybody to go and take a look at our free trial, our agmarket.net intel. That's all the emails. That's all of our information put out. And I also encourage you to keep your eyes open for our meeting, our ag marketing meeting that we're having in Nashville in February. Look forward to seeing everybody there.
All right. Well, Jacob, we thank you so much for the insight, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Thanks, Dustin. Yeah, have a great day. Thanks for having me.
And that was Jacob Burks of agmarket.net. Let's run down those closing numbers for you, courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. December corn was up 4 3/4 at $6.86 1/4. March up 4 1/2 at $6.92 1/4. November beans up a dime at $13.82 even. January up 11 at $13.92 1/4. Soy meal was up $5.10 at $407.50. Soy oil up 31 cents at $69.47. Chicago wheat down 4 at $8.34 3/4. Minneapolis down 5 1/2 at $9.52 1/4. Kansas wheat down 3 1/2 at $9.34 1/2. Oats were down 4 at $3.66 even. December live cattle down 82 cents at $153.30. October feeders up 92 cents at $176.60. December lean hogs 52 cents higher at $88.45. Pork cutouts down 22 cents at $97.52. Class 3 milk down 2 cents at $21.78. And that's been our ag market recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I sit down with Iowa Agriculture Secretary Mike Naig. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, for the most part, it's continued dry and harvest is progressing quite well. The last crop progress report on Monday said that we had soybeans 88% harvested and corn 59% harvested. Now, the dry weather wasn't as welcome during the growing season, and many farmers were expecting the worst as they entered their fields. Now, Iowa Ag Secretary Mike Naig tells us it may not be as bad as people thought. By no means are we looking at record crops, but we're not looking at anything that we'd throw in the dumpster either. Well, we're talking right now with Iowa Agriculture Secretary Mike Naig. And Secretary, it's been an eventful month here in October. How are things going out there?
Oh, it certainly has. And I always love this time of year. It's when you get to see the culmination of the growing season, all that you've put into it. Of course, with the top headline continues to be weather and drought. And so then what really is out there? And I think you've definitely got some places that are seeing yield reduction because of that drought. But I continue to hear folks saying better than I expected. And that's always good to hear. And of course, we're just really grinding it out now, really picking up pace. And but it is a wonderful time of year. I love it.
I know you mentioned drought, and of course, some people saying it was better than expected. I mean, how are you hearing people coming through that area, especially those western areas that were under drought for so long this year?
Yeah, and unfortunately, we hit a milestone of sorts in the drought monitor last week, which is that 100% of the state of Iowa is abnormally dry. So that would be D0 to D3. Now, D0 is not technically drought, but it is headed for that. And so 100% of the state. But in those areas where you've had that kind of persistent D2, D3 drought, we're definitely hearing about yield reductions. And so that's that, western Iowa, northwest Iowa. And then as you get down into southeastern Iowa as well, they've really struggled here. So, again, though better than expected, I think that's a testament to a timely rain. And we saw that last year, right? A timely rain resulted in us setting a new record for corn yields. I'm hopeful that as eastern Iowa and northeastern Iowa comes in, that their numbers are looking really, really good. And of course, we just have to get through this harvest season to figure that out for sure. But it is concerning that here we sit at the end of the growing season, 100% of the state D0 to D3 drought, knowing that we've got to see a lot of precipitation between now and spring to really get off on the right foot.
So I got to ask, how are things looking at the Naig homestead? How's the harvest going there?
We're very blessed. We were able to catch some rain as we got through July and into August. And so we're feeling very good about the yields that we're seeing. We certainly had thought that it might be a real troublesome thing given how dry it was in June. So I can report that we're nearly complete with harvest. And of course, there's a lot that gets done after the combine is parked, as folks know, but we've really been blessed this year at our place.
And you mentioned those things that still have to be done after the combine's parked, and a lot of people look at fall fertilizer applications and stuff like that. Obviously, with numbers not being great in some areas, I mean, there's a lot of worry going on about what inputs are going to mean for 23, especially if we don't see any more moisture come into the ground. This could really spell some trouble.
It could. And I like to tell folks that who aren't directly involved in the ag community or the farm community that, yes, you may be harvesting this crop right now, but you are already thinking about making orders and booking things for next growing season, fertilizer being one of those very important things. And of course, I am hearing some, in some places, folks having some issues actually getting their hands on the supply that they need. And then, as we've been saying all along, it's can I get it? And then what's the price? And that, it's a two-step piece there. But I think just given how dry it is, that there's also people need to be thinking about that and whether they want to go ahead this fall or push that into spring. And what does that mean from a supply chain standpoint as well? So a lot of decision making going on right now, as we know, is always the case. But here's what I've been saying generally is we can look at this market and know that things look pretty good from a price standpoint, but there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of things that folks are having to manage risk around as you get into next year.
That again was Iowa Agriculture Secretary Mike Naig. Now let's run down that ag weather outlook. The sun is shining here in Des Moines. We started off with some clear skies. Clouds kind of went back and forth, but those clouds are now pushing their way across the state and giving way to sunshine starting in the west and central parts of the state. There may be some rain hanging on, especially in the eastern parts of the state into tonight, but we should see sunshine coming back tomorrow. What will it look like? Well, let's see what the National Weather Service says for the next 24 hours. Well, we had some clear skies to start the day here in Des Moines. It was nice seeing the stars out when we were getting ready to start the day. Now, today, look for those clouds to start to push off from the west for the most part. There'll still be some chances of showers in the southeast and especially along the Mississippi River Valley. We'll see highs in the low to mid 50s. Now, tonight, variably cloudy skies. It'll be more clear in the west. Rain should finish off in the east, and we'll see temperatures anywhere from 30 to about 40 degrees. And then tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies, and highs will be in the mid to upper 50s. Taking a look at the affiliate weather map, we see Cherokee tomorrow will be sunny and 57. Shenandoah and Des Moines both coming in sunny and 59. Waterloo will be sunny and 55. Albia sunny and 58. Clinton will see sunny skies and 57 degrees. For more detailed forecasts in your area, tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been our Ag Weather Outlook. And just like that, we're at the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and on our YouTube channel. And while you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified anytime we put up a video project. Don't forget about our free twice daily market podcast coming to you from Amazon, Apple, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Riley Smith and Mark Magnuson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.